Welcome to the audience, wherever you are tuning in from, all over the globe. Let me just say that if you are interested in hearing a story of going from impossibility to completely possible, if you've heard of biohacking, today you're going to hear about biohoping. I believe I'm saying that right. We are here today with the beautiful Elisa, whose story completely touches my heart. The way she has persevered, the way she shares with others and spreads hope. Um, when you're told by medical professionals that there is no hope. So, welcome. If you're driving, please be careful.
Mhm.
And if you are at home or someplace that you can tune out of everything else and tune into this story, you will hear a lot of beautiful messaging that this Elisa is helping people all over the world. So, welcome, Elisa. Please introduce yourself properly, give the terms, the company, everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Carol. I'm so honored to be here today. My name is Elisa Lynch, and I have a miracle story to share with the world. In October 13th, 2011, my entire world changed in an instant. I went out for a beautiful day on a boat with my family. I was going through a transition with my job, and I had the day off. And I decided to keep my daughter home from school for half a day and go out on the boat just to kind of regroup and see what did I want to do next with my life. And as we went out on the boat that day, it was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, the water was calm. We went out into the ocean and we took a nice cruise, and we thought we'd come back around the intercoastal. And when we were out, a Coast Guard boat had gone by and didn't really think much of it, right? We went over the wake. So we started gaining speed after a few minutes, going faster and faster. Well, there was a rogue wave out there that the boat was going to hit. And my daughter was standing in front of me at the time. We were in the bow, and I grabbed her and sat her next to me. And in an instant, I saw the wave we were going to hit. And I was not able to brace myself from the fall that was coming. So as I was holding on to her, I was thrown all over the front, up and down on the seat, and I experienced a severe fall, up and down fall, which created many, many injuries in my body. And I was instantly paralyzed from the waist down. I had had a burst fracture from landing so hard on the seats, and it ended up pinching into my spinal cord. So after it had happened, I knew something was terribly wrong because I was feeling pure electricity. I actually didn't know what had just happened. It happened so fast, and I started screaming for help. And my husband was a police officer, and he came and pinched my leg, and he knew that I wasn't feeling anything. So they called for help, and I had to be airlifted to the hospital. So luckily, they had laid me on the front of the boat till I could get to safety. And I was looking at the sun and the light, and the sun was saving me from going into shock, which it was really just the most terrifying experience that you can imagine, because it happened so fast. I felt like I didn't have time to blink. It was just like that.
Hmm.
So,
I want to say here, thank
mhm.
you, Father, that we're having this conversation. And I also want to make sure, because I know the answer to this question. However, your daughter was okay.
Yes, my daughter she was okay. I was holding on to her like this and making sure that nothing happened, and she did not fly out of the boat, which was amazing because, like I said, it was fast. Um, so yeah, she was okay. She had a bruise
Okay.
on her back, and that was so she I was so blessed that she was not hurt.
And when I say she was okay physically, I know that there's been a lot going on, I am sure, I can't imagine for her. Different story, different time, but I wanted to let the audience know that, thank the good Lord, she was okay. So,
Yes,
we are
he
now,
was okay.
Elisa, you are getting ready to be life flighted.
Yeah, so when I was laying on the boat, when we got to the dock, they arranged to meet me at a dock. The paramedics came on and they were able to safely have me removed from the boat. And there was a helicopter waiting for me to bring me to the trauma center at St. Mary's Hospital. So when they airlifted me to the hospital, the first thing they did was they put me in the CAT scan machine. I knew it was very serious because every time I moved, I was feeling this electricity, but I didn't really know what had happened. And the doctor had come in, the neurosurgeon, they had called in and they said that I had had a burst fracture and that I was pressing on my spinal cord 90%, and there were disc fragments all inside the cord that had to be removed. They basically said, like, what I can remember is that, it was a really going to be a, how did they describe it? Um, like it was life or death. That's what it felt like. Like if I didn't do the surgery, they said they had to go in and try to, take the fragments out and, secure the spine. But there was an under feeling as I didn't know if I'd even live through the surgery kind of feeling because it was just so much trauma, right? At that particular, my body was in complete shock as well. So, I just was never so scared. I didn't know what decision to make. So I decided to go with the surgery because I didn't want to die. I wanted to live, right? So
I
I
can't
just
imagine.
went for it. And so I remember them rolling me into surgery, and that's the last memory I have. And then, obviously I got put to sleep. And when I woke up, I was grateful to be alive. I did wake up, but I was in excruciating pain. The most pain, I don't even, it's such a blessing that I got through that really hard time because the physical pain of the feeling so what ended up happening after they kind of uncompressed the spinal cord, I did start getting some feeling back in my legs, but it was so painful. It was like, I remember I had to have people with me around the clock because I couldn't be alone. I was just in that much pain in the beginning. But the good news was the doctors came in and I felt them pinch my leg a week later. So they had said, this is a good sign, but we still don't know if you're ever going to walk again. Or, it was more of a not probable diagnosis,
Right.
like they didn't say like it was impossible, but they didn't really seem convinced that people really recover from spinal cord injuries.
Possible, not probable.
Exactly. Like, they didn't say never, but they were like more on the, it'll be very unusual if, because most spinal cord injuries, um, so one of the things that I learned now is that the fall itself was really the most traumatic thing because when I landed on my sit bones and on my hips and my pelvis, all of that affected my whole body. So
Mhm.
the fall really was because it actually moved my hips and it moved a lot, to walk. So it was much more of a complex case than I had knew in the beginning. At first, I thought it was just because of my back. I didn't realize that it was a full body injury,
Right.
so there was like a lot of trauma that I had to work through. So what ended up happening was I went to Miami Paralysis Center and I was looking for answers. I was looking for hope. And, it was pretty slim. They said if within 2 years I gained any mobility, that would be it. And so I went to, I thought I'll just keep working out, exercising more, exercising more. And I went through very severe rehab. I even went on a walking machine to try to think, well, if I keep walking again, then it'll just happen automatically, which it
Sure.
was really good for me though, because once I started moving again, little by little, the body was healing, right? It was starting to figure out its new normal because I injured my nervous system. So I had to have a complete transformation of healing for my nervous system to repair.
Mm, mm.
So working out had to be part of my life. So I had to change, like I had to get healthy, right? Because I couldn't, um, having this kind of injury and adapting to a life in a wheelchair it was all brand new to me. And, the first 4 years or 5 years, I was really in a lot of physical pain and I was in bed a lot. So I had to learn, and I still had children and I was still trying to go on with life the best I could. But I was pretty broken in the beginning, it really was. Um, it was a really painful, the losses I felt were very deep, and so there was a lot of grief and a lot of, you know, putting my faith really to the test. And so one of the most important messages I got was a week after the surgery, or 2 weeks. Actually, it was 2 weeks. The first night I was alone in the hospital, I did get a message from God that came in. There was a cross over my bed, and I was told that they said to me, the messages I received was, God has said to me, you're going to be okay. It's going to be it's going to be a journey, not meaning it's going to be a while. You're going to walk again and you're going to be fully healed. And
Wow.
I didn't really know at that time what that meant. It was just going against with the diagnosis I was getting. So I knew that God had told me that I was going to be healed one day and that I was going to be okay. So when I was going through those really dark, first several years of transitioning to my new life, I still had hope because that hope, that message allowed me to seek more answers and to go on a quest to heal myself.
Wow. So during this time of, my God, why have you forsaken me? Which is a real feeling that comes to people, and I cannot even imagine. You heard and you knew it was a message from God that you were going to make it.
Yes.
It was going to be a journey. So you have it's going to be okay. So in a day and not knowing when that's going to be, you would reflect back on those words to
Yeah.
to get to the next moment, the
Mhm.
next breath, the next hour, the next day.
And what I call it now is the next step
Mhm.
because I've been on this journey for 13 years. It's been 13 years.
Wow.
And I can look back now and see the 1,000 steps.
Wow.
And every step required me to have faith. And I had to go against mainstream when I would go to my Emory Paralysis Center and they would say, we don't know how to help you. I want to give you this pain medication. I had some more surgeries that I shouldn't have maybe necessarily went through with, but not knowing about holistic health, you know, um, I had to put a spine stimulator in because I was in so much pain. But a few years in, God told me you have to take that thing out. So I just listened. But I had to really trust my intuition, and when I was being told no, I kept saying, but God said. So I would still keep looking for answers. So one of the most pivotal things that happened was about 5 years in, 4 or 5 years in, I woke up one day and I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to fly.
Mm,
And I know God has something important for me. And I
mhm.
went on a journey and I did go on my own to kind of find myself and find out what my purpose was and how I could find joy and happiness again because I was very, very depressed.
Oh,
And so I went on a journey and I started doing personal development work. And I found a course, someone had introduced me to a course called gratitude training. And I started learning about gratitude. And that changed everything for me because once I went on the inside and saw all the gifts I still had and what I could offer the world, I could find purpose.
Mm,
And finding purpose in life was like a light went on inside of me
mm,
that no matter what my circumstances were, I could still have an amazing life and help others. So I wanted to go into service. And one of the things I love more than anything was being on the water, being a beach girl. I grew up on Long Island, New York. I've always been at the beach. Anyone that knew me knew I was at the beach. And that was my whole life. So when I got injured, I wasn't able to go back on the beach anymore because the wheelchair doesn't roll on the sands. So I was able to step into a lot of advocacy work in South Florida and get some more places accessible and more better beach wheelchairs and different things. So I was finding purpose and helping others with similar, you know, that wanted to go to the beach like I did because I was like, you would never think of it until you're in it, kind of thing. So that was really
wow.
a passionate thing of mine. And then as I was really diving more into healing, I had a coach, Joe Petrosky, who is an intuitive healer that I met through gratitude. And he took me on a journey of really healing and learning about the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical, how the body's all connected.
Mhm.
So I
Mm,
had a lot of my childhood wounds that I had to work through and a lot of previous trauma. I had some other instances that happened. I had my appendix ruptured when I was younger and some other traumas in my early adult life were creating. I had a lot of um, trauma is still in my body from previous experiences. And I wasn't aware how trauma was held in the body. Um, it was all new to me. So
mm.
I really did love learning, and I started reading and watching videos with Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and all these amazing people into alternative healing. And I realized how important our mindset is in our health, and the
Mhm.
thoughts that you think influence your body. And so I had to learn to get my body out of a stress state or a injured state in my nervous system to a healed version of myself. And as I was healing and doing the spiritual, mental, emotional work, I could see changes in my body. And I had to learn, also had to really tap into love and the love that God has for us, right? In Jesus. And then the love, because love will transmute and heal also. So with learning, I had to learn a lot of new tools to really and surrender, right? Surrender is the most important tool of all, and to trust. So it's really been a magical journey for my growth and what I've been able to learn in this life. So I do feel blessed about the gifts that I've received now.
Well, there's just so much here to unpack. I'm afraid we're gonna have and we'll look forward to a few conversations. However, I wanna gratitude. It was the first step into where you are today on a more, if you will, once you had the gratitude, you were able to open up and receive the gift of your purpose in this new normal.
Yes, gratitude allowed me to see my inner world and to connect with who I truly was. And, because when you go through a trauma like that, what I didn't realize was a lot of it's biological. The brain almost gets stuck on a response of stress, right? Your 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 brain still your body still feels a certain way, so the brain still thinks you're at the time of the accident. You have to create something brand new, and you and your body kind of go on the journey of finding each other again.
My goodness gracious.
It's actually really beautiful because when you feel the presence of the Holy Spirit and you
Mm,
have that freedom,
mm,
that is such a gift
mm.
that I don't, I mean, I say, like, is it possible? Like, I know everything's happening right for our highest good. So the journey to find out who I truly was is, it's a beautiful, beautiful experience to have that in life,
I'll tell you,
you
this is
know.
all reminding, first of all, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, this is such a testament to sometimes we pray and we're limiting the Creator God. I mean, it's very interesting how we do that. We all of a sudden we're limiting what we're asking for. And I mean, I'm covered in chills, opened to receive the message. You heard him say to you, you're gonna get through this.
Mhm.
And, he may as well said, I'm gonna walk you with this and through this with you. And
Yeah, I feel like now it's funny because my best friend had passed when I was 25
mm,
in a car accident, and our favorite poem was Footprints in the Sand.
mhm.
And
Oh,
that really resonates with me now because I do feel like I was being carried.
oh my God.
So I
Oh,
know that's beautiful, but that's really because, like, when all you have is your faith, and everyone, the doctors don't think it's possible or they don't see, and it's not intentional. Like, I know they're trained in, a certain way, and they don't know what God can do, right? They just know from the books that this is typically what happens. Um, but the care that we have sometimes is really just focused around, let me get them home, but if I had known so much more at the time of injury, I feel like I could have maybe been healed a lot quicker.
well,
Instead of me finding and searching for answers, like, I didn't know how much the fall impacted me until now. I didn't know. So I was uncovering, like, layers after layers of things that needed to be healed. But the beauty part is there's no time frame. Like, it doesn't, as long as I know I'm getting better, I feel better, I'm having results, right? It's on God's time. I
that's
don't
right.
have to have what am I trying to say? Like,
You don't have to have there are the facts and then
yeah,
there's the truth.
yes.
And, facts we have, and appreciatively so.
Mhm.
However, then there is the truth that is interwoven that we search for. It's a choice. And what is so inspiring here to me, not being able to understand, as we all know, one of the reasons I love to, it's such a privilege for me to ask questions and have people share their stories so as to connect with others that are like, "Oh goodness, I've had a similar situation," and you all can connect with one another, right?
Mhm.
However, you made a choice even when you were introduced to anything along this healing journey, you would think about the next step choices to say, "Okay, I'm gonna embrace this, and I'm."
Yeah, and I tried everything. I've when I say, there's a map I have called Holistic Health. I'll show you the map here. I got this map in the mail and it's called Holistic Health. And one side is pharmaceutical, like Western medicine, one side's holistic health. And would you not know, I have a little knowledge of almost everything on that side. And I
Wow.
got this in the mail and I said, okay, this was my purpose, to learn about alternative healing and all the possibilities that are out there for one's health. Because it's really, what I learned through biohacking is that we just go back to the way God created us. We have the right water, we have the right um, things for ourselves, we activate our stem cells, we read our energy. It's all the products I use now are holistic. I don't take any medication. And I'm
Yeah,
the healthiest I've been in probably even before the accident.
right.
Because now I really know how health and the body, how to have great health.
You took accountability, you took ownership, you became the CEO of your own health.
Mhm.
And you continued to dig and learn more and dig and get information and reach out, showing the greatest strength of all, in my mind, as you came to, and
Aw,
it's amazing.
thank you.
Depending on when you're listening to this audience, it happens to be the Lenten season, and, that's a walk, and so many people that I've spoken to, this journey that Elisa is talking to us about that led to surrender. And then at the surrender, all of a sudden, by the grace of God, she is shown the way through the journey and in a manner that she is sharing with all of us. Um, and so many people, like she said, she did not know that the injury was all inclusive, physical, mental, spiritual, and so often we
Emotional.
oh, and the emotional, I mean, I cannot even imagine any of what you're sharing here. I am so grateful that you're sharing this, and the map that she just showed us, we'll get a photograph of that. We'll talk about that. I'll make sure you're gonna have all of Elisa's contact information. And Elisa, tell them a little bit about when they get in touch with you. Will y'all have a conversation to see how you can help them through their journey of this whole health lifestyle, whether they are, have had a similar experience or not? You have this beautiful, don't you call it biohoping?
Yes, it's called BioHope. I am a guide healer practitioner. I own a machine that reads your energy field. So
Fabulous.
I'm able to do an energetic scan so I can take a look in your body energetically and see how much energy is flowing. I can see if you need a detox, how your organs are functioning, how your meridians are, how much energy is flowing. I can read your chakras and um I
That's so
oh
cool.
yes, it's amazing. This tool is amazing. So I've owned this for 3 years. When I went to a lot of events and learned a lot. So I would go to different biohacking events and there'd be speakers and I got an email. I signed up for an event, TCCHE. It was 3 years ago in West Palm Beach. And they said, "Do you want to get your chakras read?" And I was the first person in line. I signed up and this is what they used on me. So I was able to finally see if the work I had been doing was working, and I could see that it was. So I bought the machine on site. I couldn't leave without it because this was helping me. And at the time, I had a lot of undiagnosed things that I was able to work on since I own this. And then they were putting on these patches on me, which were activated off of my light body, and these activate your stem cells. And then we were scanning me before and after, and I was seeing changes. So I knew they were working. So I've become a little researcher with this little guy here. And
Well,
then I also do this helps with my cellular health. So I have a bunch of different things. So what I try to do is meet with someone and just share and see if any of the protocols that I use every day can optimize their health as well.
wow. Well, what's
So yeah.
interesting is, that which can be measured can be improved.
Yeah, so
So
this
I
is
love that.
really photography. So
You
basically what we're doing is we're reading the light emitted off your fingertips. It's reading your organs, your meridians, your acupuncture points, and it's showing the energetic field that's around your whole body, your immune system, your every part of your body, your heart, your organs, your lungs, everything.
Do you use that often to see where you are, whether it be at different times of day or how you're
Yes.
doing on a day? And compared to the way you feel and to what your readings are, do they line up often?
They always line up. I have done over 250 scans on myself in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And I also research products. So I will scan myself um, before I use something and then wait 15 minutes, scan after, and then I compare and I see what changed. And you get to be very in tune with your body. The more you connect with your body, the more you're in tune with it, right? And also your emotions, because your chakras are going to show you where you are emotionally. So if you have something going on emotionally, it still affects your body physically.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, there is a direct correlation. So a lot of times I'll do a scan with someone and we'll go over and I'll ask questions and they're like, yeah, they pretty much can always name what's showing up if I go through the different feelings and emotions. Because each chakra has a different meaning, a different body part, a different um, energy. And it's just our energy centers that go through the spine.
Well, this is so cool because they can contact you and have, I'm going to call it a discovery call or
Yeah.
whatever that may be. And then y'all can find out if this is a nice connection or not. Because I know what's one of the things that I know we are in alignment about is that individually we are not for everyone. However, as we work towards creating positive change, we are all for connecting with others so that everyone can find that person that they need at that time and then grow from there and grow from there. I know, oh my gosh, we are so a little even over time. There's so many more questions, and we did not touch upon so much more within your amazing story. And so let's do this again.
Okay. The
And
only
we'll,
thing I wanted to mention before is that this book is coming out, Never Quit Moving.
oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, it'll be out in May, and there is a Facebook community called Never Quit Movement that if anyone would like to join, there's 38 adaptive athletes who have the ultimate mindset. They're Paralympians, people, veterans, amputees, and all of us have overcome severe adversities. I'm actually an adaptable paddleboarder. I love paddleboarding. I'm still on the water any chance I can get. I'll always be a mermaid. So that is my passion. I write also a lot about, the beach accessibility, and I'm hoping that we can really create change and making the movement out there more so we can raise money to get more beach access out there in Florida and all over.
Ah,
So that would be
well,
ideal.
we're gonna have a link to, I know the book hasn't had its official launch yet.
Yeah, it's the end of May, but the Never Quit movement is on a Facebook group. So if anyone wants to be inspired and read about the stories that'll be coming out in the book, there's 38 chapters, 38 authors, and everyone has a unique, amazing story of overcoming adversity and having the ultimate mindset. Because it
Well,
really
we'll do the
takes the strong mindset to really get through these type of adversities.
oh, I can't imagine. And I am going to, we'll make sure that the Facebook link is in here, that there are, I like to say all the things. And we will have, if she will join us, Elisa will come back. And I just thank you. I know the audience is so appreciative. And I know that each of us will share once we have a link to this episode. We will share that with as many as possible. And then definitely the book, have another conversation. Um, you're an incredible child of God and you're appreciated and you inspire everybody to remember that, your story matters and you matter.
Aw.
And
Well,
so,
thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed to be alive, and I'm so grateful to be able to offer hope for these types of injuries, that anything's possible as long as you believe and you follow your heart and your intuition. God will guide you.
oh my God. Thank you. Thank you, audience.
Mm.
Spread, 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 spread the word. You're spreading hope. You are spreading positive change. So share with any and all because you never know who they know that needs to have this story that Elisa has shared so beautifully and beyond. Okay, Elisa?
Thank you. So much love to everyone. Thank you so much.